There's different ways of learning. There's passive learning and there's active learning. Now, I'll come over here so I can see. Passive learning, 10% of what you read. And I'm so glad you're all taking notes. There's one right there I always forget. 10% of what they read. 20% of what you hear. 30% of what you see, right, is what you remember. 50% of what you see and hear. Now, one reason I gave you notes is 70% of what you say and write. But notice you're not saying anything, you're just writing. Okay? But 90%, you will generally remember 90% of what you do through active learning. And that you'll see over there to the right. Analyze, define, create, evaluate. Guess what? You're going to be doing some of that. Getting engaged in the process. Coming up with your own definitions. Evaluating how you're playing the games. Creating your space. Getting your emotions going. Okay? Does that make sense? Y'all up for that? Anybody want to rewrite the record? Okay, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to get into active learning so that when you leave here, you will remember it. We have some graduates here. Rita, would you stand? New member of your church, Rita Leak. Everybody give her a hand. Sonia Leak. Sonia. Sonia, what is your last name? Let's call you Leak. Okay. Sonia Leak. They're graduates. Rita has been all the way through our transformation level. And has this program made a difference in your life? Tremendously. It makes a difference in your life. They knew I was coming through Facebook, and then they came, and then they were here on Sunday, and now they're members of the church. And I'm going to put that in all my brochures. Wherever I go, the church grows, and I'll be booked for the rest of my life. So this is a good start. Pastors will be lining up to bring me. I bring people when I come. It'd be great, wouldn't it? So y'all tell them I do that. Okay. Next slide. We're going to be dealing with, and then Alex, I'm going to let you alone here in a minute. We're going to be dealing with these. What are these? Lenses, and it stands for? Right? And who probably programmed your navigation system? In part, the little voice, that lion in the night. Those significant emotional events, that DNA clustering. The DNA clusters, the weeds, tie those significant emotional events in the form of life's emotional navigation system to your head, and you don't even realize you're seeing green when you need to be seeing white, or as it really is. Does that make sense? You see, all these You Are Here maps, I've got a Melbourne map. I don't know where we are on this little map here. I usually use a map of the United States, but I found this nifty map at the hotel. Where are we? Do you know where we are? Roughly?
We are right. Where are we?
Right here.
Right here. There we are. Right there.
Is that where we are? We are. Okay, we'll go with that. You are right here. Now, are we in Palm Bay or are we in Melbourne right now? I never really know where I'm at, so I always have to check. It's really good. My wife's around. You are in Palm Bay. Is this Palm Bay? Is this Palm Bay? Well, okay, it's Melbourne and Palm Bay, but is this the city? Can you go here and live in your house on this piece of paper? So what is this? It's an image of Palm Bay. I hope this isn't Palm Bay. Y'all, no wonder you're doing road work. You got a bunch of stuff ending nowhere. Roads. Y'all probably have some roads to nowhere, don't you? Got some roads to nowhere on here. You only got like 20 buildings in the whole town. So is this even a correct representation of Melbourne and Palm Bay? It's someone's drawing, someone's imagery of what Palm Bay really is. Does that make sense? But this is not Palm Bay, right? Like literally, physically, the dirt, the streets, the buildings, and all of that. It's just a map for tourists like me. And we don't need to know all the little streets. We just need to know the big streets, and it kind of helps us get around, doesn't it? Does that make sense? Yes. Your lenses are maps of what you think the world really is. And if you will accept this fact, it will serve you. I think it's a fact. It's a scientific fact for sure. I can prove it to you if you want to go, we can go into a lot of quantum physics and different things. You do not see the world as it is. You're looking through your lenses and you're only seeing what you think the world really is. What you're seeing is your own customized map of the way you think. I'm sorry? Oh, good for you. Thank you. Thank you. I better keep it down here. You're seeing the world, and it may even be upside down or sideways. Do you understand what I'm saying? The map is not the territory. This is not actually the streets, the buildings, and all of that. This is just a representation of the streets and buildings. When you look through your lenses, you are seeing the world as only you see it. It is your unique drawing of the world. Now, I'm not saying the buildings aren't actually there. I'm not saying you're not actually sitting by your neighbor. We're not going to get too far out into quantum science. But what I am going to say is that you see the world the way you see it, and it is not the way it actually is 99.999% of the time. Can you accept that? The more you accept that, the less frustrated you get, and the more life starts making a little bit more sense. Okay? Because if I really try to get around Melbourne like in detail with this map, how far would I get? Not very far. If I try to get around my life with this map on, how far am I going to get? Not very far. So the reason you haven't gotten where you want to go is not because it's not available. Are all the streets really available in Melbourne? Are there really? There's not many banks on here, but are there banks with money in it in Melbourne? But could I get to it with this map? But is it there? Well, how many of you know there's banks in the kingdom of heaven? There's things waiting for you, but it's just not on your map. You just don't see it, but it's there. You just don't see it. And if you can change the map and get the map closer to the way the map was originally written, then you're going to get closer to where the banks are. And the hospitals, the spiritual hospitals, the healing hospitals. Closer to where the marriage counseling really happens. And where full restoration is when we're actually going with the territory and not just what we think the world is. Does that make sense? The enemy has programmed us to limit our map and has put our GPS system, our emotional navigation system, on autopilot to hell or to poverty or to lack. And it's as if you drive right by the bank and you never see it. Right by the stage. Susan Boyle came out from behind her glasses and found the stage. She saw it. She didn't look at herself in the mirror and get all up in what she thinks her map looks like. She stepped out from behind her lenses and stepped out where the bank is. I got another newsreel. She's got contracts lining up left and right because she stepped out onto the stage. And they're saying, well, do we get her all dressed up? And the lady, the blonde-headed Amanda, the judge, she said, I hope they don't. Because she'd lose what is Susan. We don't want to shave her eyebrows. We don't want to do those things. Okay? We'll probably make her grow her armpits hairy and make her more frumpy or something. I'm sorry. We would just build it up. Right? That was rude. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But what I'm saying is that she came out behind her map, didn't she? She stepped out. And so what we want you to do is come out from behind your emotional navigation system and get on course for the kingdom of God. The way it should be. The way it was originally designed to be. I mean, there was a design in Genesis 1 that looked pretty good. No work, no toil, no sweat, no thorns. I'll take a little bit more of that. Thank you very much. Right? Well, as far as I know, Jesus said, go ye and take dominion. Go ye into all the world. Begin to move this out and take dominion. I reinstall, I believe, the Genesis mandate in many ways. To go take dominion. Next slide.